Not having the abortion is the biggest regret of my life. I posted about this on another sub to vent and was recommended to post here for support. I'm sorry if this post or I don't belong here. When I got pregnant, all I wanted was to abort. I never wanted to be a mom. It was the time between getting my arm implant birth control replaced, so we were using condoms, but part of me now wonders if he sabotaged them somehow. I always thought we were on the same page about kids, but he was so happy when I told him, was horrified I wanted to get rid of it, and decided telling everyone and having them guilt trip me was the best way to handle it. But I guess he was right because it worked. I caved. I kept telling myself that it will be okay. He was sticking around to help me. This didn't have to ruin my life. I could go back to school and finish my degree. It would be fine. I read all the mommy forum posts and Reddit posts of moms in my position who talked about how glad they were that they didn't go through with the abortion and were so happy and loved their child more than anything. And I convinced myself to believe them. I was wrong. So freaking wrong. The biggest regret of my life. He left 1 month before the birth. Gone. No way to contact him. I was left to do this on my own. I wanted to unalive myself then and there. It was too late for the abortion. I missed my chance to be free. He stole that from me. When I decided to go the route of adoption, all my friends and family treated me like I was a monster. My mom was especially cruel. I was subhuman, disgusting. How could I not want my own baby? I never got that flood of love and emotion people talk about. I felt so repulsed to breastfeed him. Everyone told me to give it 6 months, that sometimes it takes a little while, but I love him more than anything. That never happened. I was more miserable than ever. Everyone said it was postpartum depression. So I put myself in debt for doctors, therapy, medication, everything. Nothing helped. Then they told me to give it a year, that being unhappy is normal. But I can't imagine disliking your own child is normal. I spent my whole childhood faking how I felt and going through the motions. I did the same now. My mother was incredibly cruel growing up. So I told myself no matter how much apathy I felt, I could never allow myself to inflict that on him. I disassociated most of the time and sunk deeper down into a mental spiral at a year old. I couldn't take it anymore. I felt like if I didn't give him to someone else, I was going to unalive myself. 6 months later, the adoption was done and it was the first time I felt free in so long. I cried, I was so happy. But to all my friends and family, those have had to be sad tears. I can't take the abuse from them if they know how I really felt. I'm sick of pretending. I'm sick of allowing myself to be painted as the sad too young mom who had to give up her baby because people just cannot accept the idea that some women do not want to be a parent. I want to go somewhere new with people that are new so I can be free of this whole ordeal and never think about it again. I was so naive. I never should have let anyone convince me that things would change. I should have never doubted myself. And when people give me praise because I didn't quote unquote choose an abortion, it fills me with so much anger. I was threatened, coerced, worn down. That isn't a choice. It certainly never felt like one. Edit, all the kind responses are overwhelming. Thank you so much. I'm so glad I found this community. I grew up somewhere that the dominating expectation of me was to marry and have 2 kids by the time I was 25, so getting to experience being surrounded by people who will just let me be myself is comforting. Thank you all, really. For those who have asked, yes, I'm planning on moving and getting out of this hellhole. I'm trying to save up some more money. All the medical expenses were really hard on my finances. But I'd really like to live in the Northwest. Washington looks pretty. I've always wanted to live somewhere really green. It's also reassuring to see people saying that they are glad I let this out, that I could possibly help another person with a similar situation or wanting the perspective. I really, really hope that is true. I never want another girl to go through what I did and feel so alone. So I hope at least being honest about how regretful I am can help at least one other person. I'm so sorry for what you've been through. I wish this was talked about more often. Technically, women quote unquote have a choice to get an abortion, but mental manipulation from other people is real, especially for someone going through emotional and hormonal changes. I'm sorry you were surrounded by such people, and I hope you'll find a better society. Don't feel guilty for your decision. What you did is a million times better than parents who keep their children knowing they can't take care of them. Exactly. Maybe technically I had a quote-unquote choice, but when the alternative is homelessness, people I have known my whole life rip into me and calling me awful, and the guy I really thought I was going to marry hating me. It just never really felt like one. And in my state, I most likely would have had to go to another state to get the abortion. I never realized how crappy the options are for women like me until I got into this situation. It makes me so sad and angry. I'm so sorry you went through this. Thank you for your perspective. So many people tell us, quote, it's different when it's your own, end quote. And we know it's not true, but people like you talking about it is the proof we need. I hope you're able to find a new life with people who respect your wishes and needs. I saw so many people saying that the baby being their own changed everything. I tried to believe it. I really did. But it just left me feeling defective, betrayed when I was a year in. I was still waking up wanting to unalive myself. Barely eating and hurting myself and just thinking about sleeping and never waking up. Feeling like my life as myself was over and I only existed as a caretaker for a baby. I was disassociating constantly. I don't know how much longer I would have been able to hold out. This whole thing just made me want to get sterilized. None of my previous attempts went beyond a doctor just brushing me off and laughing at me. It makes me want to cry. Even now, I'm still so upset about it. I'm so sorry that you went through all this. I hope you have or are able to, at some point, cut the toxic people out of your life. Honestly, I don't even think this is really about regret because of the extent of the coercion you faced. It really was never your choice. You didn't make a choice you regret now. You were forced into a situation you saw no way out of and did what you needed to do each step of the way to get through. It takes a lot of strength to push off all that externally driven guilt and do what is right for you when you know you're going to continue to get grief for it. Thank you for sharing your story with us, and I hope you find more supportive people in your life. This is the point. For all the gaga sappy syrup pouring out of their mouths, they surely won't adopt the child. Or support her at all. Like, who of these people were helping her in any way? It drives me crazy. People think it's so important that their opinion be part of a decision that someone else has to make, but have absolutely zero responsibility or follow through for the ramifications that decision has. This poor woman, for freak's sake. This is one of the things that infuriates me the most about these situations. There is not a single mention in the original poster story about her partner, her family, or her friends helping her with the pregnancy, the baby, or the problems she had as a result. She tried to solve her problems herself with her own money and put herself in debt. The only thing they did was guilt trip and emotionally blackmail her. It is easy to force people to have children when you don't have to take any of the responsibilities with raising the child. If they didn't want her to give the baby up for adoption, then why didn't they adopt the baby themselves or make up a team of 24/7 babysitters? Why didn't they cover all of the expenses related to having the baby? A part of me thinks that they didn't really want or care about the baby. They were just being sadistic and wanted original poster to suffer. I seriously hope original poster moves away and ghosts all these people and makes a circle of good friends that accept her for who she is. But before she does, she leaves all those evil people a letter where she describes how she really felt about everything and calls them out for not covering the expenses and raising the baby themselves if they wanted the baby so much. I wish there were laws against emotional blackmail where the victim gets compensated for any damage and suffering caused by the perpetrators, and the perpetrators may even go to jail. I hate how people often believe that all our choices are 100% ours and we should take responsibility for them. It is not much of a choice when the other options will lead you to be shunned by everyone you ever cared about. And about her partner who forced her to have the baby and then left, the stuff he deserves to happen to him is way too graphic to be posted here. If I start describing what kind of things I wish to be done to him, my comment would probably get removed and I'll get banned from the subreddit. Society's fetishization with having kids is just fricked up. It's a total nightmare. This is a story of abuse and enslavement. I imagine this is not an uncommon situation either. Original poster is just brave and self-aware enough to tell her story. It's also sad how many men get off on the power trip of making their partner carry a child that neither of them wants. It's such an abusive, sick thing to do, and yet it's exceedingly common. I had the same suspicions. I don't think her partner really wanted the baby, otherwise he wouldn't have left her. He just wanted to ruin her life. If your friends abuse you over this, they are not your friends. Also, go no contact with your mom. Move away if you can. I'm sorry you had to go through with this, and also frick that guy. May he get a bum knee and suffer every day of his life. I was going to say this, those aren't friends. Those are the kind of people who deserve to have their sock drawers peed in every night while they're asleep. Calm down, Satan. Also, hi, I'm a big fan.